This is the day that the Lord hath made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. I do have a few announcements. A warm welcome to all of you, especially those of you that are visiting, and to our 8th grade graduates and to their families, and to all of those that listening live on the radio. It's great to have you part of our community today.
Welcome, and thank you for being here at the graduation of the class of 2019. These 4 students, with the help of their family, teachers, and congregation, are prepared to take the next step in their education. Their leadership, hard work, and playful spirit will be missed. We will now hear from this year's salutatorian, Miss Callie Rissy.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Callie Rissy, and I would like to thank you all for coming to the 2019 8th grade graduation. I feel truly honored to be salutatorian this year and to be presenting this speech to you today. Before I discuss anything else, I would like to thank a few people. First, I would like to thank Mrs. Marcy Weber for staying by me whenever things would get rough when I first started attending Immanuel Lutheran School. Second, I would like to thank everyone in my family for helping me when I asked or needed help on anything. Next, I would like to thank every single one of my teachers that I have had during my time here at this school for building my education and walking with me every step of the way, and also Pastor Holm for helping me grow in my faith with God. Now I would like to thank all of the cooks that have worked here since I have been attending Immanuel for preparing delicious and healthy meals for all of the students and teachers in the school. I also want to thank all of the volunteers for helping out around the school and for doing all that they do. Lastly, I would like to thank all of my friends that I have had and still have that attend Immanuel Lutheran School or used to go here for sticking by me whenever I was feeling down and whenever I was happy. I love all of you here at Immanuel, and I will greatly miss every single one of you. Now I would like to discuss my past years here at this school. When I first started attending Immanuel Lutheran School, I was in 1st grade, and my homeroom teacher was Mrs. Clough. Though I do not remember much of my 1st grade year, I still know that Mrs. Clough was and still is an amazing and kind teacher, and is still always right. For my 2nd grade year, I had Mrs. Craig as my homeroom teacher, and then Mrs. Manwaring as my 3rd grade teacher, who both are amazing and intelligent. The activity that I remember the most from my 2nd and 3rd grade years is an entertaining, educational, multiplayer or team quiz game called Kahoot, which we all played together as a class and that I loved playing. My 2nd and 3rd grade teachers had a phenomenal idea of using Kahoot in class, because as we are having a blast, our teacher is observing what we know and what we don't know. Up until my 5th grade year, our math teacher was Mr. Rimini, who always taught us many things in math by being absolutely hilarious. And then we had Mr. Zobel, who is still our current math teacher. During my 4th, 5th, and 6th grade years, my homeroom teacher was Mrs. Voss, who taught science and social studies, and who I and my entire class did our first PowerPoints with. Mrs. Voss was and still is an amazing and brilliant teacher, and she taught me numerous things in science and social studies. For my 7th grade year and this year, my homeroom teacher was and is Mr. Zobel, who taught my class science and math last year, but this year he traded science for social studies. Mr. Zobel has taught me numerous things in all of the subjects he has taught to my class, and he was and still is a fantastic and intelligent teacher. Also, for these last 2 years, my ELA teacher was and still is Mrs. Holm, who has taught me numerous things about literature and word usage and much more. She's a wonderful, intelligent, and phenomenal teacher, and even though she may sound strict every so often and tease you a whole bunch, it's because she loves you. Throughout my 8 years here at Immanuel Lutheran School, I have learned countless things in all of my classes. I have also learned numerous things about God, Jesus, and the Bible. I'm incredibly excited about going into high school this next school year, but I know that I will, without question, miss every single one of you here at Immanuel Lutheran. But don't worry, I will come back to visit every once in a while. Again, I would like to thank you all for attending the 2019 8th grade graduation. God bless and have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Callie. Now I would like to invite Mrs. Michelle Carter, President of our School Board of Education, to come forward, please. These 4 fine students have met the requirements for the state of Illinois in Immanuel Lutheran School and are now ready to receive their diplomas. Graduates, please line up. Daniel Jaden Elliott. Sophie Margaret Home. Callie Grace Rissy. Summer Nicole Spradling. I present to you the 2019 graduating class of Immanuel Lutheran School. We will now hear from the 2019 valedictorian, Miss Sophie Home.
As most of you know, my parents both teach at Immanuel. Sometimes it's great that my parents are always there, like when I want a hug, when I have a bad day, or when they run to get me medicine when I don't feel well. But everything comes at a price. Like when you forget to study for a religion test, then realize it's your dad giving it to you. Or when you get into a disagreement over clothes with your mom, and you have to see her 10 more times that same day. And trust me, it's hard to hide your grades when your parents are grading your papers. Joshua 1:9. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be frightened and do not be dismayed, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. That was my confirmation verse. That verse has helped me through a lot. Do not be scared, for God will be with you wherever you go. I've kept that with me through all the moves, from Wisconsin to Indiana to Illinois, back to Indiana, and now to Murphysboro. The other day, I realized I've been here for half my life. It might sound weird, but I never thought I'd be in one place for 7 years. But 2 things have helped me everywhere I go, have been with me everywhere I go: my family and Jesus. And those 2 things play together repeatedly every day. Like sometimes when I wake up from a nightmare, or I just can't fall asleep, I go into my parents' room and wake my dad up. He always prays with me. Now, I know it doesn't matter who prays to God, that he listens to everyone's prayers. But I always feel like it makes a difference when a pastor prays. And I'm sure it's cost him many hours of sleep, but it was worth it, for he helped me feel courageous. I would like to thank Mrs. Voss for giving me a love of science. It will stay with me forever. Thank you to Mr. Zobel for toughening me up and teaching me patience. I know I'm not your favorite, but I also know I'm not your least favorite, like we always tease. Thank you, Mrs. Clough, for being my Auntie Em. I was one of the unfortunate ones who didn't get an extra helping of your love. Even though you didn't teach me, I know that doesn't mean you love me any less. And I know that you're retiring because you can't bear the thought of going to school every day and not seeing me. And I kind of denied it for the first couple of years, but now I know Mrs. Clough is always right. Thank you, Mr. Clough, for making me laugh, for being principal of this school for this year. Thank you, Mrs. Manway. You weren't my teacher long, but I appreciate you were strict with me, because everyone knows that I need a little extra discipline. Thank you, Miss Jessie, for being like an older sister to me, and for feeding me snacks after school. Thank you, Mrs. Lentz, for helping me reach my vocal and acting goals and always helping me practice, even when I didn't want to. You've always supported me, and I'm grateful, because singing is one of my passions. Thank you to the members of this church who have known me since I could barely see above the pew. You have guided me with your kind words. And thank you to the members who have been grandparents to me, because my grandparents couldn't be here. Thank you to the volunteers of this school for making our school a better place. Thank you to my friends for always making me laugh and feel better about myself. Thank you to my family for always being there. To my brothers for making me tough and for always making me want to be smarter to catch up to you. But not you, Charlie. Thank you for making me smile. Thank you to my parents for making me work and for comforting me when I get anxious about life. I know that Immanuel has prepared me for my future academically, physically, and most importantly, spiritually. What I've learned at Immanuel will help me as I go to high school, to help me be courageous and strong, to always look to the face of God in times of trouble, to not be afraid, but to lead and set a godly example. Joshua 1:9. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be frightened and do not be dismayed, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. Thank you.
And thank you to everyone who has supported these fine students and Immanuel Lutheran School. Thank you.
The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine on you and be gracious to you. The Lord look upon you with favor and give you peace.